Hi, folks, and welcome in as Post-University Baseball takes host here at Municipal Stadium as they play host to the Bridgeport University Purple Knights. Cody Shalfo here on the final day of the CACC regular season for most teams. I think Chestnut Hill has one game tomorrow because they want to be different. But other than that, this is the final regular season tune-up before we hit to the playoffs. The playoff brackets, the participants are set. How that all shakes up is left to the results of today. For Post, if you're looking for Post in Bridgeport, no matter what happens today, a 100-run win or a 100-run loss, they will be the number 8 seed, and they will be taking on the number 1 seeded Wilmington, the Wildcats in Delaware. Post, right now, they sit on that precipice of 4-5. Really, if they win this game, they are the number 4 seed. We will see you Friday for some playoff games here at home. If they lose this game in Felician, who we are keeping an eye on throughout this broadcast, they take on Dominican right now, have a 2-0 lead in the bottom of the second. If they hold on to win and Post does lose, then Post will have to go and travel for the first round of the CACC playoffs. Either way, we are about ready to go here. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for Bridgeport and the starting pitcher for Post today. Genzo De La Porta plays second base, leads off. Patrick Krimpaski, he's in left field, bats second. Anthony Maturo at first base. Liam O'Neill at short, and Luke Meister, your 3-4-5. Anthony Armenia in center field. Ryan Baldwin catching. Jaden Echeverria at DH, and Michael Incontro at third base will round things out for Harvey Valera. The senior from the Dominican Republic hoists a 2.34 ERA and a 2.20 whip, a 2-4 record. This is his 11th appearance, 6th start. He's thrown 31 1/3 innings so far this year. Misses inside twice to De La Porta. 39 runs, 36 earned, 13 walks to 14 Ks, 3 home runs, and opponents are batting .403 against him. He also does have 1 save. Started his career at Calhoun Community College and gets strike 1 on the foul ball. De La Porta, 297 average coming into play today. He takes strike 2. 11 walks, 7 Ks. Won a Gold Glove while in high school. Flares that one off. It's going to be Cohen, Diaz, Dolan around the outfield for Post. Keller, Cornwell, Vega, and Erglovich around the horn, with Contreras being the second half of the Contreras-Harvey battery. Slider inside, and Cohen is there. First out. Bridgeport has Post number. Last week these two faced off midweek, and at Bridgeport they picked up 2 victories against Post, a 7-0 win in Game 1 and then a 3-2 win in that 7-inning doubleheader, second game of the doubleheader. On slap foul. Last time out was a loss, as much of a barn burner as you can get. 18-17 your final score at Goldie Beacom on Sunday through 10 innings. You had a 10 spot by Post in the 5th inning. In that game against Goldie Beacom. Goldie Beacom scored in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the 10 innings. 5 of those innings they scored multiple runs. Had a 6 spot in the 3rd. Going into that 5th inning, in which Post scored 10 runs, it was 10-4, and then you still end up losing that one. A lot of scoring. That one chopped foul. Krimpaski, a .333 hitter. As a Rookie of the Week honoree in the conference from a few years ago. 35 RBI. 13 walks. Also a team that likes to steal. That one misses high. It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. As a team, Bridgeport, they like to get on the move. 107 stolen bases, 135 attempts. That ranks them 28th in all Division III as a big strikeout for Valera, his first of the afternoon. And 1-2 go Bridgeport so far. Anthony Boturo, the first baseman, bats third from Massapequa, New York, studying mechanical engineering in Bridgeport. Two quick strikes. And Valera, that's kind of been the issue, is throwing strikes and getting behind and counting in a 2.20 whip. Not the best to have. And goes good morning, good evening, good night to Maturo. And Valera, maybe one of his better innings he's thrown all year to start things off here in the final game of the regular season. Post bats when we return. So it's Post. It's coming up for their first time after a 1-2-3 inning by Valera. Set them up to potentially get a run or two on the board and put themselves in the driver's seat in this midweek matchup. Here's the starting lineup as strike one to Gil Dolan, the right fielder. Comes across the plate. Jesse Alfala bats behind him DHing. Manny Contreras, one of the breakouts on Post's team, and potentially of all the conference, but seeing how his stats compared to this year to the others, real big improvement by Manny. He's kept it consistent all year. He bats third. Hunter Keller at third base bats fourth. Evan Cornwell 6 hits away from claiming the all-time spot in hits in Post history. He wears 15, plays short, bats fifth. It's Joey Cohen in left, Evan Erglovich at first base, Kevin Diaz in center field, and Renee Vega the second at second base. Your 6, 7, 8, and 9 hitters in a lineup. And they are going off against Brennan Palmer as Dolan takes one the other way. Single for Dolan. Palmer 6.75 ERA, a 1.54 whip, 2-3 record. This is 8th appearance, 4th start, 26 2/3 innings pitched so far this season. Has given up 3 long balls and has kept the walks relatively low to the strikeouts, 8 walks and 19 Ks. As he goes for Joe Tonelli's group. Tonelli in his 14th season, closing in 430 wins for his coaching career. 240 wins would be the next little branch in his Bridgeport tenure, where he stays one more year, 250 most likely with the Purple Knights next year. Picked up 2 out of 3 against Chestnut Hill this weekend and scored double-digit runs in each one of them. 11 runs in a win on Sunday, 18 runs in the second game on Saturday, and 12 in a 14-12 loss in their first game. Were selected to finish 10th in the CACC poll, and on senior day against the Lightning, clinched a playoff berth for the first time since being a member of the CACC a few years ago. Again, they already know that they'll be taking on Wilmington in Delaware on Friday and Saturday. Alfala stays in there and flicks it foul. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Alfala hitting right around 300 at 299. Not much extra base pop, but he'll take his walks with 26 of them. So a 444 on base percentage. This is a team that's drawn the 22nd most walks in the nation between the two men we saw to begin the game. And then Vega, the perfect hit and run, got De La Porta right out of position by a quarter of a step. And that'll put the runners on the corners for Contreras and the Big Boppers. So here's Manny, 342 average, an OPS over 1,000, 7 home runs, 16 doubles, 43 RBI, and looking to add 1 or 2 more to that. Looks like corners will be slightly or bag level. Middle infield pinched, double play depth. Chopper and foul. Post coming into play today, 25 and 23 in a good slider 0-2, but no chase by Contreras. Looking for their 20th conference victory. Checking on Alfala at first base. He's back in there safely. Jesse has swiped 5 bags on 6 tries from White Plains, New York. Maturo at first base, De La Porta at second, O'Neill at short, and Contra at third. This is popped up, giving chase as the right fielder, and that will fall right by the gravel. It's Meister out there. Armenia in center, and in left field will be Patrick Paskey. And then Baldwin doing the catching. Manny trying to put Post on the board first. And he'll get another pitch to do so. Good at bat forming by Contreras. Fly ball. Meister will line it up with Dolan's speed. This should be an easy run. And the throw will come into around second base, and a sacrifice fly RBI for Mandy Contreras to get this party started. Again, set up by the hit and run. Alfala just put perfectly to second base. That got right by De La Porta. Brings up Hunter Keller, who is also enjoying the fruits of a nice season. 21 walks, 16 strikeouts. Missed a lot of last year with injury. And has come back as a graduate student. 333 hitter. He pops out into right field. So first two reach via the single. And the next two fly out to right field. And that brings up Evan Cornwell. Started his career at the University of Delaware. And 6 away from being the all-time hits leader, as Alfala into second base is safe as he takes it. Stolen base for Alfala. Again, his 6th now. And ball 1 to Cornwell. Cornwell, second-team All-CACC in his career, studying psychology. Just trying to lay the bunt down, and I think he's going to get on. That is a base hit via the bunt for Evan Cornwell, and now just 5 away from that all-time spot. The bunt slightly more prevalent here in the collegiate ranks, but still something that is becoming more and more rare in baseball, and that puts runners on the corners. And with 2 outs, you think, hey, maybe that's a free out, never bunt with 2 outs. But when no one's expecting it, no one really, or I want to say no one is preparing for it, but obviously the abundance is lower than usual, so defense doesn't see it too often. Can put kind of like there where Baldwin probably had the best shot at it, and Palmer shied away from it, and both of them kind of said, hey, you got it. And by the time Palmer was able to get it and pick it up, Cornwell was just a step and a half away from the bag. Almost rings Joey Cohen's bell. Joey, 290 hitter, 780 OPS, 26 walks. Good amount of players with 20-plus base on balls here in the lineup. Vega, it's probably one of my favorite players I've seen this year. A guy that hits around the Mendoza line, but also has an on-base percentage of like 500 because he walks every single time. You have him with 25. I'll follow with 26. Cohen with 26. Hartman has 25. Who's not in the lineup today. And these are all walks, by the way. Contreras with 23. Keller with 21. Dolan with 41. So they take first base if you give it to them, and in danger of doing so here to Cohen, 3-1. A ball would load the bases. And flared into the seats in right. So 3-2, 2 out. Cornwell, who was off on the last pitch, will be off on this pitch as well. I'll follow at third base. Swung on and miss, and Palmer limits the damage to just 1 run. Some traffic on the base paths early. Post brings Sick to the plate and score 1, and they have the lead for Harvey Valera. We'll be back in just a moment. So 1-2-3 with the Purple Knights in inning number 1, and Harvey Valera trying to do the same to them here in inning 2. It'll be Liam O'Neill, Luke Meister, and Anthony Armenia as we start things off here in the second. .240 hitter O'Neill was an all-star in high school from Harbor, Maine, or Tenants Harbor, Maine, excuse me. One of a handful of guys with double-digit stolen bases. So we talked about over 100 as a club. Bridgeport is this year in stealing bags. Supplies a bit of pop with 4 home runs and 4 triples. Leans out and flicks this one to right field. Dolan will saunter over. And 1 up, 1 down, 4 in a row for Valera to start things. Purple Knights 20-23 on the season, 16-16 in the conference. Luke Meister, 864 OPS for the right fielder. The graduate swings on and misses. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Meister from Oak Park, Illinois, getting his MBA. Straight back into the backstop. Returned 30 from last year's squad, including the top 3 pitchers in terms of innings production. Bridgeport did. As just doing what you can with the pitcher given with 2 strikes and dumping that into the gap. This won't be 2, but it will be the first base runner for Bridgeport. We already talked about how they like to get going on the base path, so that could quickly become a double. 13 stolen bases for Meister, and he gets a base knock. Been pretty consistent with 339 average coming into play today. That's going up. Strike 1 to the center fielder, Armenia. All-county, all-league, all-star while in high school. Check on the runner at first base. Armenia's not going to hit for much average, but will hit for a lot of pop, a lot of power, speed on this team. 8 home runs, a couple triples, and 5 doubles. On the ground, Cornwell, he won't have chance for second base as the runner was off, but he will get the runner at first. And Armenia, I guess, does a job, moves runner in a scoring position with 2 down. Now bringing Ryan Baldwin, the catcher today, a freshman from Ocean City, New Jersey. 16 runs batted in. And a hit here could tie the game up. Valera slider first pitch is in there. Pretty tough season for Valera stat-wise. Well, you can get first pitch strikes. That helps a lot. And that's a real nice pitch, but ball 1. Inside swung on and tapped foul. fair to Harvey, a lot of his damage came earlier in the season. Gave up 7 runs in his second appearance against Uville, 4 1/3. 3 earned in 5 innings against Cedarville, which was his longest outing on March the 1st. And then 5, 8, and 5 earned runs over the next 3 outings, which kind of tanked a lot of what he had going on. Did give up 3 and 4 innings, which isn't awful, but obviously not great. And the strikeout he picked up, the first 2 strikeouts picked up in the first inning were the first 2 strikeouts since the 21st of March, where he had 1 strikeout over 2 full innings against Chestnut Hill. But had a nice 3-inning performance against Wilmington on the 12th, where he went 3 innings, 4 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk. Lifted to right field. Dolan takes a couple steps in, a couple steps to the left, and he is there. So a single in the second, and they got the second base, but left him there. 4 faced in the inning for RB Valera. He's looking all right through 2. Evan Erglovich be the man to lead us off. Kevin Diaz and then Rene Vega due up in this inning as well, as Post put a run up in the first inning and 2 zeros on Bridgeport. Again, we are taking a close eye to the Felician-Dominican matchup for Felician right now winning 3-1 over Dominican in the top of the 4th inning. The reason we're taking a look at that is all 8 teams who have made the playoffs are decided, but who they play and where they play and why they play still up for grabs. Only Wilmington and Bridgeport have hammered in their playoff seedings no matter what happens today. Goldie Beacom and Jefferson fighting for that 1 or 2 spot. Felician Post for the 4-5, and Chestnut Hill Holy Family for the 6 and 7 spot. And depending on what happens today with all different tiebreakers and whatnot, those can go a myriad of different ways. So Post pretty much with a win. They got that 4 spot. Thanks for playing. We'll see you on Friday. If they lose, then most likely it would have to be a Felician win to knock them down to the 5 spot. So Post has some house money to play with, but a Felician win and a Post loss would knock Post down to the 5 spot. Also, Dominican right now, I think, just scored a moment ago. It's now 3-2 in the top of the 4th. So the Chargers, who were real good a season ago, I believe got their first seed in the conference last year. Not looking so hot this year, but still have a pretty good offense. We saw them come to town about a month ago. I was on the call for that and doing the stats for that game. Saw a lot of 400 hitters, a lot of 1,000-plus OPSs, and a tough lineup. Just wasn't able to put it together all the way through the season, and really was their big downfall. Kevin Diaz is in center field and bats eighth and is up right now. He chops it up the middle. De La Porta does a nice dive to keep it in, but the throw's going to be way late. Good effort. But Kevin Diaz's 252 average is going up. And Diaz can take off. I think one of the top 2 or 3 stolen base threats on the team. 13 steals for him. Transfer from North Central Texas. Here's Rene Vega. Not many players in the country, regardless of level, have a better understanding of the zone than Rene Vega. Again, a guy who doesn't hit for much average or power. It's a 220 average or a 322 slugging. But despite those challenges, 495 on base percentage, 25 walks, 8 hit by pitches. I mean, you're going to be hard-pressed to find anyone anywhere that has a sub-230 average and a higher on-base percentage of 490 or above. He's going to look to drop it down. This throw goes into center field. Diaz took second, takes a look, and is into third safely. So it'll be a stolen base and an E2. To get him to third. A little bit better than the sack bunt. Does that job and then some, and Vega still has a chance to hack. Third baseman on the grass. This is popped into center field. Armenia lines it up. Will this be enough? Diaz thinks it will. He stumbles coming into the plate. And head first slide, not in time. The second sacrifice fly of the day for Post. And Diaz doing all the little things right to get all the way around from first in just a couple of pitches. So Post adds on another. It's 2-0 Eagles. A single stolen base error, then a sacrifice fly on the matter of 2 pitches or so to get Diaz from home to first. And here's Gil Dolan, who singled and scored that first run in the first inning. Takes one well outside. Two balls, one strike to the former Minuteman, current Eagle. It's 2-2. 2-2 out. Brendan Palmer trying to get out of it with just giving up the one. Dolan, he's walked 41 times this year. An 809 OPS his first season with the club. Three-two line to second base, and De La Porta buffs it. And on to first base is Dolan. De La Porta should have had that one. Got right under his glove into right field. I will say single. So a single for Dolan, and he's 2 for 2. High fly ball. Meister a couple steps over, and he will do it. So another sacrifice fly and an RBI for the Post Eagles offense. They put 2 more hits on the board, 1 more run on the board, and we will see you in the top of the third as Valera's looking good. Post offense looking good. We'll see if they can both keep it up. So the bats for the Eagles have been consistent to put up a run in each of the first 2 innings as we finally get to the bottom of the lineup for the Purple Knights. Jaden Echeverria will be the first to bat here in the 3rd inning. Again, Harvey Valeri talked about it. Not a great start, great season for him, but a pretty good start to this game. See how long he can keep it up. Again, came into play today with a 10.34 ERA, a win for Posts. And they host, also, again, we're keeping an eye on the Felician game. The Dominican Chargers are getting their offense going. It's 4-3 now, Dominican leads. Now I'll come back and be out of play. So, again, for all the scenarios, the most likely scenario where Post does not host this upcoming weekend would be a loss here today and a win for Felician. But if they win this or Felician loses theirs, regardless, kind of clinch it. Valera in danger of walking his first batter of the day. And he does. Michael Encontro is up now. He's playing third base today, batting .239. Echeverria at first base. Doesn't look like a guy who steals a bunch of bags, but does have 5. Started his career at UConn Avery Point. Encontro tried to put down a bunt for the first, pulled back on the ball, now fouls back 1-1. Contra from Lebanon, Connecticut, was an all-state performer back in high school. .239 hitter here in college. Echeverria, the wheels, but he is out. He had Harvey Valera beat. And still a good throw by Contreras and a caught stealing. He eliminates the base runner. Again, trying to time up when Valera was going to throw the ball. Valera held on to it for an extra little bit and didn't matter. If he just went to second base, he had a hitch in his step because the bunt was going to be laid down, but he was basically standing on second base, still got thrown out. And Valera runs it full to Encontro. Swing and foul tip into the glove, and another strikeout for Valera, his third. Back to the top of the lineup, De La Porta, who lined out to begin his day. Fourth time Valera has gotten 3 strikeouts in appearance. Again, it took him over a month to get his 14th of the year. Had 5 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts, 3 strikeouts in his second, third, and fourth appearance of the year. And Valera faces the minimum. Does go up the walk with the caught stealing, eliminates him. And technically 1-2-3 for Harvey Valera. He is on a roll. New pitcher, Jonathan Sawicki, is going to come out. 19.29 ERA, a 3.64 whip, 0-1 record. This is his 8th appearance in 9 1/3 innings so far this year. Has given up 23 runs in those 9 innings. 20 of them tabbed to him. He's also walked 17 batters in just 9 innings and almost plunked Contreras there. Get a whip at 3.64 is not great. And there's a couple different ways that Bridgeport could play this. They already have the season series against Post with their couple of wins earlier last week. Their playoff seeding is in. They can kind of just roll out some guys that maybe haven't gotten a bunch of innings this year, or a couple guys that haven't got innings in a while. Give them 1 or 2 to keep them fresh, get them in game action, and keep their top pitchers locked away for Friday, Saturday if they need Saturday. So we could see a bunch of different substitutions for Bridgeport throughout the evening, and we'll let you know in case we do see them. 2-1 to Contreras, who just has produced in just about every single game he's played this year. Must be the batting gloves. They're pretty bright. 2 balls, 1 strike, and he leaves them high. 3-1. And that picks up the edge, 3-2. Sawicki from Avocado Heights, California, studying mechanical engineering at Bridgeport, from a transfer from Rio Hondo. And has a full count to Contreras. He jumps on that one over to third base. Contra will get it over to first in time. 1 up, 1 down. Keller, 21 walks to 16 strikeouts, from Oxford, Connecticut, studying sports management. Leaves that one high. That's the bubblegum accessories with the pinks and the blues in his batting gear. One outside, 2-0. Keller, a .333 hitter this year, .451 on base. Has 11 doubles, 1 home run, 33 RBI, a real nice bounce-back season after missing a lot of last year. As one of the older players on the roster, one of the leaders of the roster. He puts that one back up the middle. Dive at shortstop. O'Neill fires to first. Can't be helped out. Maturo can't dig it out. And we'll see what the official ruling is there, but Keller, it's going to be single for him. I agree. A real tough play at short. O'Neill needed some help from Maturo. Couldn't get it. So Evan Cornwell bunted his way on. As you see, the defense manipulated because of that decision. Evan Contra coming in. Cornwell stays alive, 0-2. Keller at first base has only stolen 3 bases. Not a big threat to go. He's only gone 4 times. Right back up the middle. This has double play written all over it. O'Neill over to first base, and he does it himself. A 6-3 double play eliminates the single that he almost prevented himself as well. O'Neill flashes the leather here in the third. So Valera, who is only allowed 2 base runners this afternoon, is going through the second time of the lineup. Krapasky, who struck out in the first inning after Vincenzo De La Porta ended the third with a flyout. And Tapper foul. And a little soft liner right to Vega will be the first out of the fourth inning, excuse me. As Krapasky will go sit down. Anthony Maturo, who couldn't quite help out a shortstop in the previous half inning with a pick at first, but O'Neill got it done himself anyway. Fouled straight back, and Cheris gives chase, but that will knock off the top of the press box here. Maturo, first base, an athletic first baseman. 21 stolen bases, and favorite topics is the somewhat death of the position stereotypes and the more nuanced approach to how to build a lineup and a defense. And, you know, back in the day, your first baseman hit either 3, 4, 5, was your power hitter, or in most cases your overall best hitter, and that was really all they did. Your third baseman had some pop, kind of more of a volatile 3 true outcome guy. Your corner outfielders had some pop as Maturo goes down for the second time today, 4th Valera K. You know, your second baseman usually hit 290 and stole bases and played really good defense, and that was about it. And if you played that position but didn't have those specific skills, you were kind of seen as an outlier and a guy that maybe would get overlooked. And I think with the more detailed approach to how to construct a lineup and what skills you want and where you're getting them from, it doesn't really matter where you're getting the skills from. If your second baseman is the guy that's going to hit 26 home runs for you, then your second baseman is going to be the one that hit 26 home runs for you. As long as he can play his position in the field, cool. If your first baseman is going to be the guy that steals your 40 bags, who cares? He just happens to play that position, have that skill set. I think that really helps give a fair shake to all the players in high school and overseas and the different leagues. Fouled it straight back and then fouled it on the backswing. Little ricochet shot from O'Neal. But anyway, you see that with basketball too, where, it's less of what position do you play and what skill set do you offer. And trying to mix and match those skill sets as best as possible. And, hey, if you're Nikola Jokic and you're 7 foot, you can handle the ball, go ahead. I mean, he's technically their point guard, but he's just 7 foot tall and 260 pounds. Just happens to be their offensive point guard and can go in the post and do all that. But I do enjoy the kind of better understanding of the skill sets of players, and you see an athletic first baseman, and really Paul Goldschmidt was one of those first guys to have that skill set. As Cornwell, you need a good fielding shortstop no matter what they do, and that's what you get from Evan. 1, 2, 3 inning again for Harvey Valera. This guy is on one tonight. So it'll be Meister, Armenia, and Baldwin. Nope, I lied. Look on the wrong side of my score sheet. It's going to be Cohen, Erlovich, and Diaz as post bats here in the fourth. Both teams trying to go back-to-back zeros up defensively. As Post scored one in the first, one in the second. That was about it. Cody Shalfie here with you. We thank you for joining us. Just one hit for Bridgeport as 6 through the first time and a half through the lineup for the Eagles. About literally just about 2 base hits per inning. Swing and miss on Cohen. He struck out to end the first inning. Has thrown up a .290 average from Woodmere, New York. Going to try to start things off with a base hit or walk. Just get on base and let the bottom of the lineup do what they can. Chopper, and that will be well foul. Two for Cohen. Choking up a little bit on the bat with 2 strikes. And goes down swinging. And they will say no contact in strike 3. First one for Sawecki, who came in relief. Got a unconventional 1-2-3 inning, but only faced the minimum, regardless of how conventional it was or not. Erglovich ground out victim his first time up. And first pitch swinging again. Chopper to the pitcher, and 2 up, 2 down for Sawecki. He does it himself against Erglovich there. And here's Diaz. Pretty good basketball player in high school, a few awards. All district / all area in basketball, as well as being all region defensive player of the year in baseball in high school. And he goes first pitch swinging as well. O'Neal rounds it out. Toss over to first base. Good stretch by Maturo. And a quick one for the Purple Knights, as they just need a handful of pitches to get out of the 4th. We're through 4. It's still 2-0 Post. And the Bridgeport Bats trying to wake up against a revitalized Harvey Valera. So Valera let's just look at Valera's numbers so far through the 4 innings he's pitched. 56 pitches, just 1 hit, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. Only 1 guy has gotten to second base on him, and that was this man right here, Luke Meister. And he looks in at ball 1. Meister, real good average here at 339. Started his career at Kenyon. And this one's popped way up. Vega and Dolan converging. It will be Gill to take it in right field in F9 to begin things here in the 5th frame. Cody Shalfie here with you. Thank you for joining us from Municipal Stadium, the home of the CACC Finals. Again, like we said, it's going to be playoff time. The end of this week, Friday, Saturday, all 8 teams that are in the playoffs will face off against 4 separate 3-game series. The 4 remaining teams will be here for a few games this up or next weekend. I'll be on the call for most of those games, not all of those games, with some help. So make sure to join us then. This pitch slapped over to Keller at third on a line, and the speedy Armenia will be out by a half a step. There's Ryan Baldwin. He lined out. And a couple of quick batters here for Valera, keeping that pitch count down as well, only up to 60 pitches. As you only need 4 to trounce Meister in Armenia. Slider in there. It's been on. Finally finding a feel, and Valera being a weapon here towards the playoffs would be a huge development. That one almost got Baldwin in the noggin. Just 1 hit, 1 walk by Valera. That's been all. He's been pounding the zone, and teams previously were hitting .403 off of him, and Bridgeport can't really do much. Haven't been able to do much. Slider inside. Cornwell's going to have a tough throw. Help by Erglovich. Got him. Baldwin doesn't run too well as a catcher, and that will do it. Great help by Erglovich. Cornwell, the gun from short, and we'll be back in the bottom of the 5th. Another 1-2-3 inning for Harvey Valera. So Rene Vega, who you can pretty much pencil into first base at this point, will walk up. Sacrifice fly and an RBI that produced the second and most recent run of the game all the way back in that second inning. It's been a struggle for both offenses to get anything going. And it helps when Valera is only allowed 2 base runners, and Sawicki has faced the minimum through 2 innings. 6 up, 6 down with a single in there, but a double play to erase it. Palmer, who started this game off, Brendan Palmer, he went 2 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 1 earned, 1 strikeout, faced 11 batters, and Sawicki through 6 batters faced just 1 hit, 1 strikeout, and came into the inning with 22 pitches thrown. This one lined, and watch out, Coach Gold. Ray Skold, the manager, head coach, skipper, whatever you want to call him here for Post, picked up win 150 over the weekend here for Post. A win today would be career win 180. He had 29, and he went 29 and 22 with his 1-year stint at Lake Erie before making the jump over here to Post. Were the champions of the CACC in 2024. Went to the NCAAs that same year and was coach of the year in the conference the year before that. Was an assistant coach at Post for a season. Started at Arcadia, Fairleigh Dickinson for a few years, then Ball State after Post before taking the job at Lake Erie, and then coming back to Waterbury, like we said, just 7 seasons ago now. Vega stays alive, and what a pleasure to have at the end of your lineup. A guy that gets on as often as he does, but also a guy that sees as many pitches as he does. And with an on-base runs like that, you're like, well, why doesn't he lead off? Well, Dolan gives you a good amount of walks and can also beat you with some extra base pop, like we mentioned Vega. Mostly a singles hitter when he does get hits, and that's hasn't been too often for him. But that skill, that on-base skill is so valuable. And to have it any part of the lineup, regardless if it's the beginning or end of it, is a super nice weapon to hold. And you kind of really have to think about that 9 hitter. Full count for Vega, because of course it is. He stays alive. Another pitch. He fights. It's in there. Strike 3. Vega thought he was walking to first. He'll be walking back to the bench. He's asking. He thought that was inside. And, hey, it's a strikeout, which isn't great, but it's a at-bat where you saw 8 to 10 pitches in, which is still a win in a lot of people's books. So Vega gets Sawicki to burn some bullets, and Dolan, his 3rd time up, swings at strike 1. Thought about dropping one down, pulls back, 1-1. Swing and a miss on Dolan. He singled both times up, but the last time he was up was the 2nd inning. It's been pretty much in order since he got on in the 2nd. Both pitching staffs have hunkered down. Ball, 2 strikes to Gill. Started his career last year in Amherst for the University of Massachusetts. Goes up the middle here. O'Neill, nice pick on the hop. Just timed that up beautifully. And a 6-3 putout. Alfala flew out in the 2nd inning, reached on a single in the 1st. Ball 1 below the knees. O'Neal again, pretty much deja vu from the batter before, and 1, 2, 3 go the Purple Knights, or excuse me, the Eagles. It's the Purple Knights who are putting the Eagles to bed, and through 3 innings, 9 batters faced for Jonathan Sawicki. We'll be back as Valera trots out there for his 6th inning. So Jaden Echeverria, Michael Encontru, and then the top of the lineup here as Valera. He has faced the minimum in 4 of his 5 innings pitched. In the 1 inning where he didn't face the minimum, he faced 4 batters. So he has been crushing it so far in this one. First pitch swinging at Echeverria, pops that out, and foul territory and well out of play. One out recorded here be Valera's longest outing of the season, and whatever he did before pregame today, he should do it again for the rest of time because it's something clicked. And he's locating pitches. His mechanics look well, and that's a real nasty slider. Again, I can't say I've seen Valera pitch yet this season. I've only done a handful of baseball games here for post this season. But, yeah, it is a real nice performance from Valera so far, and that is right back in his own glove. 1-3 putout for out number 1. But looking at the stats, usually it's, all right, control. And that's the big gripe for a lot of these pitchers here. And you see a whip over 2, it's like, all right, he's probably walking a whole bunch of guys, obviously the 403 batting average. And the first thing you look is the mechanics correct? Is he repeating his process? And how people throw or pitch and hit are all different. We all know the batting stances, the pitching motions, they're all different. But you need to be able to repeat it on a consistent basis. That's what gets you that command and able to repeat everything, and you're not wild. And I've seen him repeat everything. His stance or his motion has been pretty consistent. It's a slight hitch, but it kind of part 1, part 2, and it's been working for him today. And again, whatever mental check, physical check he has to keep his body aligned and repeating, it's been working. Valera, another perfect through the first 2 batters. as he's actually gone through the entire order here in a row. And it brings up De La Porta. Soft liner over Vega's head and in front of Dolan, as those two have gotten a lot of work when they have. In the first base runner to reach since the third inning when Echeverria walked and then got caught stealing second. No balls, one strike onto Krimpaski. And they'll throw over to De La Porta, check on him. De La Porta 5 for 6 stealing bases this year as a freshman. Leans out. Erglovich and Vega. And Erglovich takes a tumble. And he can't hold on. So 0-2 count as Valera tries to get out of another inning. Runners off. Throw in from Contreras is not in time. A stolen base for De La Porta. You see here, and I think back to the conversation of being able to repeat your mechanics, and now that Valero's going from the stretch, and he hasn't done that in a bit, you see him being a little bit more erratic, a little bit more wild, and this is the time to strike if you're Bridgeport. Runner on second base, Valero's going to step off, and you look to run it back or rethink everything, and so you can see a pitcher cruising, and then just a little dinky single to right field, and kind of shifts your whole perception of the situation. Just the second hit, third base runner allowed by Valera. That little hitch, get another batter out in front. Cornwell to Erglovich, and that is all she wrote for the sixth inning. Harvey Valera, how do you do? 6 shut from Valera. So Matt Wild will be the new pitcher for Bridgeport as the day from Sawicki is done. He faced 9 batters in 3 innings, was outstanding. Palmer again started this game. And Wild comes into play, number 22, the senior from Smithtown, New York, finance major. 8.63 ERA, a 2.04 whip, 0-3 record. This is his 8th appearance, but just the 3rd out of the Arm Barn. He is 24 innings pitched, 27 runs, 23 earned, 17 walks, 15 strikeouts, and 3 big flies given up. Faces Contreras, Keller, Cornwell, the Mashers in the lineup today. Yeah, that's 4-pitch walk, and Wild is keeping his namesake alive as he misses all 4, and Contreras down to first base. Keller almost gets smacked in the knee, and he's not too happy about it. So 5 pitches all out of the zone for Matt Wild. The lefty finally picks up a strike on the up and outside edge. And outside, pretty much the same spot, but missed by just a hair, apparently. 2-1. Contreras on first, Cornwell on deck. He bunted his way on for a single, then grounded into a double play. This could be 2. Del Porta to O'Neill. Fire! He has a cannon over there at short. Second double play, this time of the 4.63 variety for the Purple Knights. And they cut down the first 2 of the inning. And now Cornwell works with the bases empty. Cornwell checked the swing, but put the bat head over the plate and nicked the bat there. 1 ball, 1 strike, 2 out here as the temperature slowly dropping. Started the day out in the low 70s, and we're expecting by the time the game's over to be closer to the low 60s. As the minimum again, a double play helps them get there. And it's been 1-2-3 inning, 1-2-3 inning ever since the 3rd. The offense ice cold for the Eagles. Harvey Valera, ladies and gents, going 6 full innings so far. He has been outstanding. But he does have the middle of the lineup for the third time. This is where things can get dicey if they are going to get dicey at all today. Maturo, he has beaten twice. Those two by strikeouts, this time by a ground out. 1 pitch, 1 out here in the 7th. You'll take that. O'Neill also yet to reach first base, a ground out and a fly out. O'Neill has some power. This is deep to left field. And that is going to one-hop off the fence. First extra base hit. He wants 3. The throw comes in. Weak throw. And a triple just like that. And the Purple Knights have their best scoring chance of the afternoon. Liam O'Neill, his 5th triple of the year, races all the way around and missed a home run by about 10 feet or so. Also to mention the Dominican Felician game we were talking about. Dominican had the lead. Nope, they don't anymore. 7-4, Felician storming back with a 4-run 6th inning. And again, for those who are wondering why we are taking a look at that game, if Post loses this one and Felician wins this one, it'll be Post heading to Felician on this weekend, where instead if it was the reverse, or if Post wins this game at all, or if Felician loses their game at all, I think both of those teams will be here on Friday and Saturday. So that's why we're kind of keeping an eye out there. And with how well that Harvey has been and all that jazz, we're still, 2-run game, as this is high, deep. Diaz racing back, has no clue where it is, makes the adjustment, but that will be a run. So Harvey, the shutout, is dead, but he's still 2 outs in the 7th. It is 2-1 now, Purple Knights. A pitch foul back for Armenia, who grounded out to short, grounded out to third. And this one on a line to center field, and Diaz is there. Harvey Valera went through 7. It is Harvey fully loaded here in Municipal Stadium. So one of the better pitchers and probably the best pitcher for the Purple Knights in terms of, at least volume. Logan McGrath, a 4.05 ERA, a 2.01 record, his 12th appearance, 33 innings pitched so far this year. That's a save, 24 strikeouts, 19 walks. He's getting up 15 earned runs, and he has Cohen, Erglovich, and Diaz. So I think a lot of the story has been, rightfully so, on Harvey Valera, who just gave up his first run in the 7th inning, but has been outstanding so far in his final regular season start. But another storyline is the offense for Posts. Kind of were rocking a little bit with a couple hits in the first, couple hits in the second, hit in the third. Then since then, just nothing. They've gone 0 for 8 with a walk. And that's their first base hit, as I announcers jinx it. And it is Cohen on first base with his first base knock. Was 0 for 2 with 2 Ks before that. And here's Erglovich, who has grounded out the second, tapped it back to the pitcher. And now in the lefty-lefty matchup, will take strike one. Excuse me, take ball one, my apologies. 1-0 to Erglovich, who then takes ball 2 low below the knees. And a meeting between Baldwin and new pitcher McGrath. At first base lives Joey Cohen, who has stolen 11 bags this season. So a threat to go in case they want to move the runner up. Erglovich from Bucks County Community College was first and second team all-conference there. And misses it, but is this going to bleed? It will. Single for Erglovich. Not exactly a tape measure shot, but he'll get there. I'll take him either way. Erglovich is batting .228 coming into that at-bat. And here's Diaz. We'll see if they try to bunt the runners over or if they let Diaz swing away. Again, just a one-run game. Action in the Post bullpen. Same with Bridgeport. See how they want to play this. And they will go to the pitcher, who will go to third base with it. So a fielder's choice. And with the lefty on the mound, that's an easy throw to him to make. You have to push that one way up the line. So the rare 1-5 put out, and Vega saves his hits for when they matter the most. A single, and they are getting to McGrath here. And the bases are loaded. And top of the lineup, try to drive these runs home. Here's Dolan, Alfala, Contreras if we get there. Gill 2 for 3, and McGrath over the top delivery is low for ball 1. Dolan has driven in 21 runs from the leadoff spot. Oh, Dolan was trying to get all four in on that swing, and he'll have to take a walk out of the circle and get back in the box here. McGrath, the ground ball would be his best friend. Strikeout will work just fine. Foul tip into the mitt. And Baldwin squeezes it for a big out, too. First strikeout for McGrath. Alfala walking up to some Mary J. Blige, trying to get the good vibes going for the Post Eagles. One ball, one strike to Alfala. That one misses well outside. 2-1. Two outs. Post trying to break through. Thought about it. Checked his swing. 3 balls, 1 strike in the 7th. Be there if they can score at least one. Be their first since the 2nd inning. And be the first time today that both teams have scored in the same inning. Taking all the way. This one off the handle and takes a hard turn right. Three-two, payoff pitch, 2 out, runners off. Strike 3, top of the zone for McGrath. He gets out of it. 2 huge strikeouts with the bases loaded to strand Post. Their offense gets some base hits, but no runs for the 5th consecutive inning. And we will be back with Valera toeing the slab for the 8th. So 2 huge strikeouts for senior lefty Logan McGrath with the bases loaded to keep Post at 2 runs and blank them for their 5th consecutive inning. And guess who's back on the mound? It's Harvey Valera. Just 86 pitches, 7 innings, 3 runs, 1 earned, or 3 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts. He has been excellent. A little bit of a bump in the road in the 7th. Still only 4 batters faced in that 7th inning, but a triple and a sacrifice fly wedged in between the few outs was the name of that game for Harvey, who has Ryan Baldwin 0-2. I assume I'd probably register to guess that's a backwards K and a nasty pitch by Valera. His 5th. The strikeout stuff has diminished, but he picks up a big one to start the 8th. I'd assume he gets Echeverria in Contro, and then if one of those reach base, it's someone else for the rest of the inning as the top of the lineup goes over for the 3rd time. Andrew Harden with 6 saves is the most likely candidate out of the bullpen, and we'll be keeping an eye down there as well. I see Zion Frazier, Dalton Wright, I believe, warming up, who's been one of the key players out of the bullpen for the Eagles this season. Harvey picks up a strike. It's 1 ball, 2 strikes. It's in dirt. Good place to miss. Valera at the 2-2. Hit well into the right center field gap, and Diaz knew exactly where that one was going to fall and gets under it for the flyout. Game about 2 hours old as we started a little bit after 3:30. Cody Schaffel here with you with Inky as we are sitting in the 8th inning. It's a 2-1 ball game with Post in the lead, but barely hanging on. Their offense has gone anemic since scoring last in the 2nd inning. Got a wake-up jolt, but weren't able to capitalize at all with the bases loaded. And this one will dive in, and a single for Encontro. Just to keep on our eye on the Felician-Dominican game, it's Felician who are winning 7-4 over Dominican in the top of the 8th inning there. And they're going to leave Valera in to face the top of the lineup. Clearly a lot of trust from Ray Skold and company to Valera, who they're finally getting the outing they needed from him this year. Now 1 ball, 1 strike the count for De La Porta, who is 1 for 3. It's 2-1. So Contra at first base, and they'll throw over to keep him stationary as best they can. 7 for 7, stealing bags. De La Porta, no home runs, 6 doubles, 1 triple, 11 walks, 7 Ks. Slapped right field. Dolan will let it fall and actually eats him up a bit. And it's Encontro not knowing that Dolan didn't have it played well, and third base was open for him if he's running. And looks like 90% of the dugout has spilled out to the field, and they're going to keep Valera out there. Oh for 3, like a lot of folks are against Valera today. For Krimpaski, 333 hitter, 35 RBI. Misses high. And Valera here in trouble with 2 outs in the 8th inning. Foul back. First strike for Krimpaski. Two balls, 1 strike, 2 outs. Valera trying to get out of it. Does not catch the edge. A walk would load the bases, but also a real good hitter's count to tie this game up. Bridgeport has been hanging around, and their pitching has kept them in this game. Center field, Diaz ranges over and makes the catch. 8 complete for Valera. If that's his day, it's one of the best he's had, donning the orange and purple. And Diaz patrolling center field as good as anybody. We will see you for post half of the 8th, and we'll see if they can get any insurance runs. It's 2-1, Bridgeport losing outs quickly. So Manny Contreras, Hunter Keller, and Evan Cornwell here due up. It's a new pitcher, Christian Walsh, a freshman from Guilderland, New York. 7.07 ERA, a 1.68 whip. A guy who usually pitches as a starter for Bridgeport. We did suspect that they're probably going to give a couple of guys just one inning here to freshen up and stay active and loose as they know they're playing Wilmington on Friday and potentially Saturday. And Contreras' second pitch swinging, it hangs up enough for the left fielder to hold it in. So both pitching staffs have done incredible, and they've done it two complete different ways. For Post, it's one man doing all the damage with Valera having one of his best days of his collegiate career. And on the other side, it's five different pitchers who have battled and kept Bridgeport in a one-run game now after scoring in the top of the seventh. They've held Post scoreless since the second inning. Again, keeping tabs on the Felician game. They're up 7-4 in the eighth inning. Again, a win for Post would have them host pretty much no matter what the scenario is here coming up on Friday. A win for Felician and a Post loss would have Felician host, and a Felician loss in pretty much any order would also give Post the hosting rights. Two balls, two strikes to Hunter Keller. Popped up. Straight up in the chute. This is playable. And will be taken down by Maturo. Cornwell picked up a hit in the first inning, moving him, I believe, to 5 hits away from the all-time record. And in there, strike 3 on Evan. So, to the ninth we go, as Post looking to hammer in this win and get themselves a date with Felician here on Friday. We'll be back in just a moment as they bring in a new pitcher to close things down. So Maturo, O'Neill, and Meister, the 3, 4, 5 hitters for Zion Frazier from New London, Connecticut. Stony Brook transfer, a 7.56 ERA, a 180 whip. This is his 13th appearance as mixed between the bullpen and the rotation. 33 1/3 innings, 12 walks, 22 Ks, a 348 batting average against. Right back up the middle. Cornwell over, and he'll stumble, and it'll be an infield single. Liam O'Neill, a triple in the 7th, and he scored later on to give Bridgeport their only run to this point. And he's going to try to bunt it down. This is a beauty. Frazier over, has to flip it. Erglovich, he does the splits, and the sacrifice is put down. That was a beautiful bunt. Almost ran it out was O'Neill. We've seen him on the base pass. He can fly. And here's Meister. He sack flied in O'Neill earlier. Inside, misses 2-0. Valera in line for the win if they can hold this down. (3-0). And Frazier walks him on 4 pitches. So, Post, whose offense didn't make this one easy for the pitching staff, they have to be pretty much perfect. He misses with 5 straight, rather. Armenia has some power, doesn't have the best batting average numbers, but when he gets a hold of one, he gets a hold of one. And a meeting as Keller Contreras will talk with Frazier. And I think they're going to pull Frazier here mid at bat. And it looks like they will. So we'll be back after this break as Post needs this win with Felician just about to win on their game. So we'll see what happens here when we come back from break. New pitcher on the bump for Post. All right, Armenia with the new pitcher, Jacob Schraje up. Schraje, usually a starter and someone that you're looking potentially go game 1 or 2 on Friday, has to come in and close this door. We were looking a lot of the top arms out of the bullpen you'd usually go to through a good amount on this past weekend. Politano went a few innings. Velasquez went a few innings. Harden went a few innings. Dalton Wright went a few innings. So a lot of your top relievers that you trust to get you out of this jam are probably down for the day. Obviously, winning this game would be big, but you are guaranteed to go on Friday, regardless if it's here or away, and you want those guys rested and ready. So Schraje comes in and picks up strike 2 as Armenia gets some steps in before having to retreat back. Just one out here in the 9th inning. A post lead that sits at just 1 run. Felician has beat Dominican. That went final. So Post needs to win this one. Smacked left field. This is down. 1 run will score. Will they send the second runner? They will. Here comes Meister. No throw, and the Purple Knights lead in the 9th. Armenia, a big 1-out double that plates 2. And Purple Knights, for the first time, have the lead. What a huge hit for Armenia. The bullpen for Post is battered. They check on the freshman starter. And he cannot seal the win. Harvey Valera's career day will go as a no decision, as Frazier and Schraje give up 2 in the 9th. So a whole new ball game as Ryan Baldwin sits up with a runner in scoring position. Strike in there, 2-1 to Baldwin. So now Post, who find themselves behind, would need the win to host. And they're going to go to third with it, and that's a great play by Cornwell, and not so much on Armenia's part, as he is gunned out at third base, a fielder's choice and a good throw by Cornwell. Not often you see 6'5" putouts in the book. And now 2 gone, runner on first base is Baldwin, and a pitch hitter for Echeverria. It's going to be Panisi. So Echeverria, who was 0 for 2 with a walk and a caught stealing, will be pinch hit for Panisi, the junior from Smithtown, New York, a 275 average, a 775 OPS, a home run, 4 doubles, 8 RBI, 3 hit by pitches. Wild pitch by Schrage. Panisi 2-1 count to him. A fly ball. Diaz coming in, and it drops between him and Vega. Vega into second base and a single for Panisi. Moves Baldwin up, and that makes that fielder's choice put out at third base super important. That's a run. If they don't get there, if Armenia isn't out. And such a promising day for Post has gone down in a hurry, and I think it's easy to point to the pitching in the ninth inning and say, hey, if you don't win this game, that's why. But my eyes are into that 7 straight zeros on the scoreboard offensively, or 6 straight zeros offensively. He had 2 outs, or 1 out, bases loaded. He could not put a run across as he struck out twice. You had a bunch of 1, 2, 3 innings against relievers that didn't really have great seasons this year, and the offense kind of going dormant for the bulk of this game. If Post doesn't hang on and win, I think that's going to be your reason. 9 hits on the scoreboard, but 6 of those came through the first 3 innings. Produced 2 runs on them, and then nothing since then. Runners off. Contreras will hold, and Baldwin, a little too much dip on his chip. He almost got thrown out at third. Coming down the line, expecting to throw to second base. Schrage misses. 1 ball, 1 strike to Encontro. A single in the 8th. Breaker gets in there. 2 strikes. This game doesn't really mean much to Bridgeport, but now it means the world to Post. As a loss here kicks them on the road for Friday. Not the end of the world, but you'd much rather be sleeping in your own bed and playing at home. One, 2 rolls to 3-2. Two in scoring position. A hit here Opens this one up. Trage will step off, and they'll reset the pitch clock. Trage misses wildly. This inning has not been kind to post pitching. And top of the lineup, De La Porta, 2 singles his last 2 trips up. And they're going to go check on Trage, who's I've seen a couple of times. He's been pretty good. Both times I've seen him were starts. He's been fine. But, again, obviously a different role as a freshman coming in. It's a high-stress situation. You saw him against Dominican on the 31st. It was his last real good outing. Went 7 innings, 2 runs, 2 earned, 3 strikeouts, 5 hits giving up. But since then, 3 runs on 3 innings against Felician. Had a 2-inning pretty good performance against Felician on the 14th. And then Georgian Court on the 18th, 2 earned runs through 4 innings and 3 earned runs through 3 2/3 against Goldie Beacom this weekend. It's been a mixed bag this year for the freshmen, as most freshman campaigns go. Trage doesn't get the strike, and he's not too happy about it. Or does get the strike. Excuse me. They're going to call time and talk with De La Porta. Again, a very important at-bat. 2-1 the count. Two outs here. Trage just needs 1 out. Can't walk in a run, though. And I think it's Hardin getting ready in the bullpen, and someone that usually they would use in the situation, but trying to not overwork them this close to playoff time. Another run in, and it's fallen off the rails here for Post. Krompaski is up, and he is the 9th man to bat. 3 runs in to score here for Bridgeport. They advance their lead to 4-2. Trage in disbelief on the mound about where these ball and strike calls are coming. I'm not going to pretend like I can see and I agree or disagree with them. He picks up the strike, 2-1. Popped foul. Orglovich gives the chase, but won't be able to get there. Again, it's been a complete team effort out of the bullpen for the Purple Knights. We'll see who comes out, whether it's Christian Walsh or someone else. Two. Curveball misses, and everyone will be off with the pitch. Schrage coming into a situation he's not too familiar with. 3-2, 2 out, runners off. Foul back. So again, the full count pitch is off the plate. Another run in, and it's 3 straight walks for the freshman and a long walk back to the bench for him. We'll be back with a new pitcher. It's Hardin. We'll get you acclimated in just a moment. So, again, the third pitcher of the inning is going to be Andrew Hardin, a 4.15 ERA. He has a loss. This is his 17th appearance, 6 saves. Worked a bit this weekend, and the big reason why he didn't come out to begin the ninth, it could have been halfway home if he did, potentially. But obviously wanted to not overwork your top bullpen arm or one of your top bullpen arms this close before the playoffs, and now you're forced to use them anyway. This is going to fall for a base hit. Some more are coming around. And Bridgeport pouring it on here late. Good throw in from Diaz, but 2 more score. And it's ugly. A 6-run inning to make it 7-2 after the double from Maturo. And we're still batting in the 9th. And Felician, who came back to win against Dominican, are jumping for joy here. And they are Bridgeport's number 1 fans and hoping they can close things out in the 9th. Frazier, I believe, in line for the loss, as his 2 runs given up were the ones that ended up taking the lead. Even though Frazier was the one pitching, those runs go to Frazier. Therefore, it's his responsibility and his loss if this one holds. Up the middle, Cornwell, great play at short, but is it too little too late? We'll have to wait and find out. 6 for Bridgeport here in the 9th, 7-2, a lot of work for Post if they want to still host. Cohen, Erglovich, and Diaz barring any changes. And it already looks like we're going to get a new batter for Erglovich when we get there. But a 9th inning that could sway the season potentially for Post. As they had held on to 1, they would have hosted here for the first round of the CACC playoffs. Now, without a 5 or 6 run inning, they'll be on the road most likely, as new pitcher is Alex Springer, and some of the best stats pitching-wise. Connor State transfer. He was two-time All-Academic there. A 1.29 ERA, 1.86 WHIP. This is his fifth appearance. He's only gotten 7 innings, so take those numbers with a grain of salt. Does have 6 walks to 6 Ks, so mostly got helped by some defense, but giving up a lot of base runners. And Joey Cohen will be the first to bat. 2-1 count. Liner, left field. And it is Krimpalki who has it. L7 to begin the day. New hitter is going to be Ryan Davey, the freshman pinch hitting at 254 average, a 621 OPS, 6 walks, 10 Ks. And Erglovich's day is done. Davey watches strike one go by. Davey from Chandler, Arizona. Sees a strike in there. And now down 0-2 quickly. And that is snagged at first base. Maturo ranges up. We talked about his athleticism offensively. He shows it off here defensively. Lunges up and makes the catch. What a play by the first baseman over there at the cold corner. And with 2 outs, this one looking grim for the Eagles. It's baseball, anything can happen, but most likely this one will go to the Purple Knights. And again, I think a lot of people are going to look at this 9th inning and be, yep, Post lost it there. But again, I think the string of zeros offensively, knowing that 6 of their 9 hits came through the first 3 innings, and then them really not swinging the bat well at all from the 4th inning on, is more of their downing than the 9th. Diaz did not go. Diaz watches it low. Chopper and foul to third base. Two balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Springer tries to close things out. Another roller to third base, and again, just foul. The clock about to strike midnight here on the regular season. We're at about 11:59. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. A 5-run lead for the Purple Knights. Left center. And this will fall for extra bases for Diaz. So the game's still alive. The throw into third base is not in time. A triple for Diaz. And Rene Vega will step in. And 0-2 quickly to Vega. Not often he gets behind that quickly. Vega fouls off, stays alive. And Vega fouled back again. He had a single in the 7th. With 2 on, couldn't get a run across. He was the man on first with the bases loaded in that 7th, and strikeout. And foul back again. Puts the bat head out there, and that will squeeze through a run. So Vega's solid day continues with 2 hits and 2 RBI. And again, it's not dead yet. 4 runs, but with 2 outs. Top of the lineup coming up. So Gil Dolan had 2 hits in the first 2 innings, then quiet since then. Struck out with the bases loaded in the 7th, and then followed that up with Alfala striking out. Dolan goes down, and that is your ball game. So Post, they blow it in the 9th, give up 6, only tack on 1, and they will be heading to Felician here on Friday. Again, let's just take a moment to see everybody who pitched today. Palmer went 2 innings, gave up 2, and then since then, 7 straight zeros by Sawicki, Wild, McGrath, Walsh, and Springer. They were phenomenal. Combined, they gave up 6 hits, 1 run, and that was that single you saw just a moment ago. 1 walk, and struck out 6 combined. So that's the last 7 innings. They really blanked the offense for Post. And then Harvey Valera, 107 pitches, 8 innings, 5 hits, 1 run, 1 earned, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts, and he'll get the no decision, because Frazier, Schrage, and Harden combined for 1 inning total. 4 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, 4 walks. And a 6th spot in the 9th was the undoing of the Eagles. So, stay strapped to posteagles.com as we post the opponent of next round, which I believe will be Felician and everything. And getting word now, it's actually already up there. So go check out, see when start times are for this weekend. We'll see you next time, ladies and gents. The regular season is over. The new season